Greetings, travelers. Patch predictions are some of the most oversaturated content on the platform, so I have decided to join the fray. And I'm going to give you my predictions for not the next expansion or even the next expansion. I'm talking about the first patch of the next expansion. I can't wait for this video to be recommended to everyone again in like 6 years. You might wonder how I already know everything for the next 2 expansions and beyond, but that's because I am just that good. But not everyone is at the same level as I am, so I'm going to do a quick recap of the next 2 expansions so that we're all on the same page. And I'm sorry for all the plot watchers who are watching, because if you watch this video, there's going to be no reason to resub for the next 2 expansions. Also, spoiler warning. Final Fantasy XIV version 6.0 kicks off without Geomancer, to the disappointment of myself and others. Square Enix thought that tanks were still too complicated, and have further simplified the entire role to 3 buttons, 1 for damage, 1 for mitigation, and 1 useless button that for some reason is still around. The newest healer class is and has a 2-button damage combo with a dot, making it by far the most played healer in the entire game. Story-wise, Xenos and Warrior of Light have now teamed up after a very heartfelt battle. Hydaelyn is actually evil, and so is Zodiark. The last Ascian teams up with Xenos and the Warrior of Light to defeat the original Primals. After defeating Hydaelyn and Zodiark, the true final enemy appears from the ashes. Goro Majima steps in and says, "Kirita!" Which is weird, because that's not the name of my character. Majima throws his knife in the air and catches it in his mouth, then leans back and says, In the final battle, Majima uses a weird phrase. It goes like, Wait, I thought only Alexander could do this. Majima disappears, only to come back with, you're never gonna believe it, the ultimate weapon, and slams it into Warrior of Light, where they keep resisting each other, only for it to look like Warrior of Light was about to be crushed. But then, Warrior of Light says the only voice-acted line in the entire game, going, Yare yare daze. It's fucking great. Really makes you feel like Jotaro Kujo. After blasting Majima away, Warrior of Light doesn't land the finishing blow, and decides that after murdering many people in the plot up until this point, killing is now wrong. Turning their back, Warrior of Light walks away, but Final Boss Chan is not done and throws one final attack. Warrior of Light is about to be killed, but then a ghostly figure appears with a certain familiar shield, blocking the final attack. Except he's ephemeral, so it doesn't actually stop the attack, and instead, the story writers have to spin a wheel and kill one of the main scions. Oh fuck. See you later, Udianger. Final boss drops dead after unleashing his final attack, and thus, we have defeated God himself. Eorzea finally has a new Tojo clan chairman. Afterwards, there may or may not be a very hot scene with Xenos, Warrior of Light, and Y'shtola. Warrior of Light looks out the window afterwards, completely out of breath, to see Rin and Gaia walking into the sunset while holding hands. It's truly a great expansion and a real good conclusion to the story. Now, 7.0 comes out. The name is Final Fantasy XIV 365 over 2 days. Once again, tanking was still too complicated, so now you only have 2 buttons. One that is an AoE damage mitigation skill, and a useless button that you wonder why it still exists. In this expansion, they introduced dual wielding for every class. Black Mage has 2 staves. Monk and Ninja equip their extra weapons to their feet. Warrior is now just from World of Warcraft, and Paladin has a sword and shield on both arms. Samurai can now copycat Midari Setsugeka 47 times, 1 for each of the 47 Ronin. And Scholar gets another shitty glamour set, and Bard still looks good though. The story starts out with Warrior of Light flipping burgers, now that there is nothing interesting to do in the world anymore. When all of a sudden, Minfilia walks into Burger King. Warrior of Light, shocked, and says, I thought you were dead. And also Hydaelyn. Minfilia says, I heard you talking shit about me in your latest YouTube video, so I'm going to prove to you how useful I am. And she says that we have to go kill some more primals. Man, are you serious? And we're moving the headquarters back to the Waking Sands, and we're not giving you Aetheryte tickets this time. Come on! The gang is back together, and no one questions that Udianger is gone. We now find out that the new threat making primals is none other than Xenos, who has not just double-crossed us, but actually hexacrossed us, and is creating more primals as a way to make the Warrior of Light even more powerful. Y'shtola yeets herself into the Aether again for no reason. She basically just said something along the lines of, remember that time I yeeted myself into the Aether? Yeah? Want to see me do it again? We might have defeated the Ascians, but a new group of ephemeral villains have appeared. Organization 13. Zenos then rips his face off to reveal his true form, Elsa from Frozen. Thus, we finally get our first music video from Final Fantasy XIV. We're now going to have to assemble the greatest group of heroes in the entire game. That's right, that guy who we made dinner for all the way back in A Realm Reborn comes back from the grave to immediately disappear in front of us, and the real group of heroes is born. A group of meddling kids and a talking dog. We finally defeat Zenosa, this time for real. They are definitely not going to bring this guy back ever again. I swear. So now, we are finally at patch 7.1. If you made it this far, in order to access the rest of these 100% accurate predictions, you're going to have to subscribe to me on YouTube. Okay, of course you don't, but if you haven't yet, you should probably consider it because I'm going to ask you to in every single video. After the expansion's initial release, Square decides that healing was too complicated and have made it so that you only have one button that deals damage and heals the entire party to full health. Thus, they pat themselves on the back for a job well done. Organization 13 has just seen what you have done to Zenosa and have decided that they need to send one of their own members after you. The patch begins with all the Scions chilling back in Mordona, as Minfilia is now kept at the Waking Sands surrounded by a group of actors, dedicating themselves to convincing her that she is still the leader of the Scions and that the Waking Sands is still the headquarters. This prevents her from asking you to kill more primals. Y'shtola briefly mentions that the stars look very good tonight, and before anyone has a chance to think about what she just said, you hear a knock at the door. Everyone stops, and the door slowly slides open to reveal Mario from the Mario franchise. He's holding a letter in his hand and gives it to the Warrior of Light. That's right, it's time to join Super Smash Bros. Melee, the best game in the world. Thank you, Masahiro Sakurai. After missing all of your L cancels, Warrior of Light decides that maybe platform fighters just aren't for them. When they return to the Rising Stoners, a new plot point comes up. We have to create 4 different types of potions in this factory because this rocket isn't going to launch itself. Now that one Organization 13 member shows up and says that their plan is to destroy the First again, and everyone thinks, wait, what? That's right, we have to go back to the First again. Since the Crystal Exarch is not there anymore to give plot exposition, we have no idea what we are doing and how to do it. So we go back to Yulmore and hang out in this definitely not strip club. The Chais show up and Dulia Chai asks where Alphino is, only to reveal that Warrior of Light is the only one who can still return to the First. This depresses the Chais, and we have another dating simulator with Chai Nuz to cheer him up. We finally see a great ball of light in the distance. It's not exactly a light warden, but it's something truly sinister. It's Tusleen from the beginning of Shadowbringers brought back. This trial is extremely difficult as there is a giant AoE marker in the middle of the platform that takes about 20 seconds to cast, and if you're in that area, you'll lose half your health. After defeating Tusleen, you find out that Organization 13 plans to bring back all the mid-bosses from Shadowbringer dungeons, and you're going to have to defeat them all again to save the First in patch 7.1. So yeah, that's my predictions for 7.1. I do actually have a screenshot from patch 7.2 that was linked to me by a source. Thankfully, I will not need to make another one of these videos until patch 7.3 is about to come out. Now let's get out there and launch this rocket.